Hi, I'm Garmbreak1, and this is Midgardia's Creator Corner. I'm here today with Kat. How's it going?
Hi, I am alive and well. I'm having a great time. I'm fresh out of the Rainbow Roll Festival and still kind of riding the high of that weekend.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it'll be
Yeah,
about 2 weeks before this interview goes live, but you guys
okay.
did, what, $1,100 for Trans Lifeline?
Yeah, 1,100 bucks for Trans Lifeline. We spent the weekend showing off AP, both streams and podcasts this year from queer creators. And we had an awards show for the first time, which I got to host. I got to announce the awards. And seeing these people who had never been kind of part of an award show, who maybe hadn't received any critical acclaim, because we don't really have a lot of that in the AP space, seeing their reactions to being recognized was absolutely the highlight of my month, year, my day, my week, my month, or even my year.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it was. It genuinely was. It was a beautiful moment. We really kind of got to celebrate queer excellence in AP storytelling. And that was kind of one of our big missions. The other one, of course, being to lend support to our trans siblings.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're watching this, you can still donate money to Trans Lifeline. It's never the wrong time of year.
I actually have, listen, can you, listener, can you do something for me, please? Can you, viewer? Hey, can you do something for me, please? Can you look up how much a name change costs in your region and maybe donate that money to Trans Lifeline? Sponsor a trans person. That's what I did.
It's a very, very thoughtful and poignant suggestion.
Yeah, because it costs money to do these things. And like, a person gets married, well, getting married costs money, but the state doesn't charge extra money to change your name when you do. But like if you're transitioning, oh boy, you have documents to reorder, you have legal procedures to go through. It's a headache.
In
So like do
some
a little research.
Yeah, in some states you have to place newspaper ads announcing your name change as well, which is
Yikes.
yeah.
Yikes. So yeah, just take a minute to Google the costs of transition in your area and maybe chip in, sponsor somebody.
You're fantastic, Kat.
I try.
And you
I
also
try.
you succeed. And you also wear many hats, like between organizing stuff for Rainbow Roll Network and Rainbow Roll Fest. You also make games.
I have a hat that's Jigglypuff.
That's a very good hat.
I got distracted. I do make games. I love to make games. As a matter of fact, my name is Kat. I make the games. My name is Kat. I write the games. You can buy the games. It's Peach Garden Games. Play solo games. Play by yourself. Moody solo nonsense or big monster hunts. Play heroic chord. Play with your friends. Mash words together and cast awful spells. Play Blazing Hymn. If you hate your friends, sing to kill the angels. It's just anime. My name is Kat. I bought an ad. Check out my stuff at Peach Garden Games.
Kat, that was a lovely commercial. I'm glad that you put all that effort into it. That must have taken at least an hour.
you know, just about.
No, but seriously,
I
it's
was I
it's
was so
wonderful.
sleepy brained. I was so sleepy brained when I did it. I was not all fully present, but everyone's responded really, really positively to it. Chat was having a great time at the Rainbow Roll Fest. They were so excited when Cat's ad came on. And I did make a couple sales of Blazing Him, so that was wonderful.
Nice.
Apparently some people really hate their friends.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? I've ran Blazing him, and I just detest everybody I care about.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I wrote you a bespoke adventure for punishing your friends with.
God, it was so good.
It
That's
was a
called
good
Rhinestone
time.
Revenge. It's on
It
Cats.
is.
It's on peachgardengames.itch.io. You can play it.
You can play it. You can punish your own friends. My favorite part was after the Roar to Heaven screener, someone in chat was like, "Oh, that's why the ad says to buy Blazing Him if you hate your friends." Like, I see now. It's like, yep, that's
So, for those who may be uninitiated, what is Blazing Him?
Blazing Him is my transparent Symphogear fan game with just enough Evangelion in there to muddy the waters a little bit. It is about angels coming to Earth to destroy humanity and the music powered mech suits that teenage pilots wield to fight them off. Um, you kind of get different powers based on what kind of song you're singing. The character classes are transparently modeled after the six main characters of Symphogear. I don't even pretend they're not. Um, there's the swan song is in there. It's called the Supreme Melody. It's the swan song from Symphogear. It's really transparent.
I can tell that you are like a legit old school Symphogear fan by the fact they say Swan Song instead of whatever Crunchyroll used for their translation.
You're
I
right.
I think it was Climax Song,
Climax song, I think,
yeah.
yeah. Climax song is what Crunchyroll uses, I'm pretty sure. It's the swan song. That's what
Yeah,
I'm used to.
I mean, Climax Song fits the like later the usages of it better when it doesn't cause you to disintegrate into ash in your friend's arms. But Swan Song is just so evocative.
This is an interesting thing about the visual design for Blazing Him is that the waveforms you see in the manual for Blazing Him are me singing that song.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
every so often you'll see a waveform as a design element on a page. Know that that's me singing the song that kills you.
very good. That's ominous and a little horrifying, I'm not gonna lie.
I use the lyrics of the song that kills you for calligraphy practice actually pretty regularly.
I mean, I have sat at work and like scribbled out every activation call in Swan Song before.
Yeah,
It's very
absolutely.
catchy.
There's a lot of listen, Symphogear is good.
It is. But I appreciate that you say enough Evangelion to muddle the waters like Symphogear isn't half Evangelion in the first place.
I know. Yeah. We're just leaning a little more in the Ava direction, just a little bit. But I genuinely had a lot of fun with Blazing Him. It came together quite quickly. Because I mentioned this when we did cool crowdfunding when I was crowdfunding Roar to Heaven, but Spencer Campbell put out Frame, which was a Warframe RPG, and I was like, yes, I can hack this into Symphogear. Yes, I can hack this. And then the gamers happened, and Spencer was like, no more Warframe, now Lumen, and I was like, I can hack this into Symphogear, and then I did. Then I did.
Yes, I remember. I remember the great coming of the gamers.
God, listen, never, not even once.
You don't want to
Right?
get exposed to a big subreddit, unfortunately. Like,
You don't
ever.
want it. You don't want it. And it's
And it
like the
sucks.
attention is not worth it. Not when it
Yeah.
comes from Reddit.
Like, there were some people who understood and were pretty enthusiastic about it, but not enough.
Mm.
Anyway,
I'm drinking coffee at this hour. Why am I doing it?
it's okay. I just finished an energy drink at 6:30 p.m., which I've done later. Um,
I know what time it is.
sorry, 6:30 where I am.
You jackass.
So
I'm not allowed to call you a jackass on your own show. I apologize. That was untoward of me. That was not very guestly of me.
it's okay. You're fine. Hello, Cannon. Welcome to my desk.
Hello,
This is Cannon. She's
the
had a very
baby,
hard day.
the big one,
This is the small one.
the small one,
She's just very fluffy.
the which is the crime doer.
They both do crimes, but mostly her brother Hubble.
Oh yeah, no, I remember now because yeah, Hubble is the crime doer. I remember now.
And he's got the cute white socks and the cute little tail poof, and Cannon is just fluffy all over.
Fluffy.
Um, but yeah, so Blazing Him is not the only thing you have. I believe
Oh,
Heroic Chord is one of your other major hits. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
yes. Heroic Chord is a game I've been working on since I was bored out of my tears working graveyard shift surveillance at a casino. I It's a big adventure game. It's kind of in the mold of Dungeons and Dragons. It's kind of a vaguely medieval adventure style TTRPG, in which the gods of this world are stationary monuments, and the character classes get their power from having made in their backstory a pilgrimage to one of these monuments. And the vibe is very kind of like, it's optimistic, but it's got a lot of horror vibes and a lot of horror set pieces because the world did an apocalypse. And while we're kind of in a post apocalypse scenario, um, kind of Breath of the Wild is what it's often compared to. Like long enough post apocalypse that we're in a verdant world where people are trying to regain a foothold. And there are like nightmarish creatures that are relics of the world that once was. And you cast spells because you have a list of words, and the terrain has a list of words, and you mash them together like the song said, and you cast spells that way. And that's very fun for most of my players.
That's really cool.
I like it.
I really need to play Heroic Chord.
You should play Heroic Chord.
One of
We've
these
got
days.
there's some big stuff coming down the pipe for Heroic Chord. There's a lot. I'm working on a new edition. Um, there's secrets, but I'm working on a big edition. Then there's secrets, and there's also you can also listen to the podcast Sword of Symphonies, the award-winning actual play podcast with Best GM New Jersey Webfest 2022, me. Um,
Congratulations on that, by the way. That is
I don't
awesome.
know how it happened. Least dignified moment of my professional career was when I'm sitting at this table with some absolute legends of the industry. I've got Kendo to one side of me and Kathleen to the other. What am I doing here? One of the awards was won by Brennan Lee Mulligan. I'm like, the fuck am I doing here? And then it comes time for Best Game Master, and he calls my name, and the first thing out of my mouth is, what the fuck? Very dignified.
Very.
Very, very dignified. I broke my shoe. I had to hobble up there. I pointed at them and said, how dare you? How dare all of you? And then I eventually did give a speech about how much you need to love your players to be a good GM. But it took me a minute to get into character because I was just so blindsided, I guess.
You do good work and you deserve it.
Aw, heck. You're too sweet. This is Sort of Symphonies is very much it's very Heroic Chord, and it's me and Kathleen does an amazing job editing it and writes the most beautiful music for it. Kirsten and Nick are staggering performers, and I'm just kind of messing with them the whole time, but not as badly as I mess with the cast of Roar to Heaven, my other AP, which you may remember from Cool Crowdfunding. We're 10 episodes in, and things have become troubling.
Yes, I hear it's dangerous, and I've listened to I think 4 episodes so far. It's horrific. You should listen to it. Like,
Oh, you think the first 4 episodes are horrific?
oh no.
Oh, sweetie. Oh, sweetie. It gets worse. It gets so much worse. We definitely lean kind of a little bit closer on the Evangelion side in tone for Roar to Heaven.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, I remember listening to, I don't remember which episode of it, but the sound design was so good and like all that, and I'm just like, what am I doing?
Yeah. She's so powerful. She's so incredible. She's my right hand, without whom I would do nothing.
Need money so I can hire Kathleen.
Yes, everyone needs money so they can hire Kathleen. She's the best in the biz.
That is very much the impression I get, yeah.
Yeah. She has the power to make me sound smart, and she does not use it. Which I love for me because I don't want to say a gremlin, but I'm a gremlin a lot. I kind of just yeah. Yeah. I will never my favorite thing is when I tweeted about wanting to get so drunk in nature that I threatened to fist fight a seagull and eat 3 different kinds of twig. Your response publicly was cat no. But you did message me useful information about getting drunk in public in the place I live.
Yep. A handy list of all of the parks where you can now legally get drunk as of this year. Listen, you're gonna make bad decisions no matter what I advise. I'm gonna make sure that you do them somewhat legally.
Yeah, and then my friend Daniel was like, "Yeah, come to Philly, I got you." And I'm like, you know what? Honestly, bud, honestly, I've got so many people who are willing to support me in my quest to fist fight a seagull and eat 3 different kinds of twig.
Yeah, they ain't got
Second
fists.
tweet to see which goes down smoothest.
Okay, look, it's going to be some kind of pine as long as the needles are pointed outwards away from your
Those
face.
never
That's gonna
go
be the smoothest.
smooth. Have you seen pine bark on the twigs? It's all gnarly.
Yeah, but the needles will cover it. They're
I
smooth.
see. You gotta eat it in the direction of the needle growth,
Mm-hmm.
like petting a
Exactly.
cat.
Right. Not canon. You can pet her in any direction you like, and she doesn't care.
Oh,
But
what a baby. But
she's
yeah,
good.
okay. I'm learning. Okay, all right.
Why am I helping you?
Why are you helping me?
So,
Why
Kat,
are you
you've got other games.
I have a talk show coming up.
Yes, yes, Take Flight. Tell us about Take Flight, where you will not eat twigs during the stream.
I might. Don't test me.
No.
Actually, I think when this goes live, we either have just had or are about to have our first episode of Take Flight. It's going to be July 6th.
Yeah, it should be just out. So,
Okay.
tell
So
me
you
about
can
how cool
definitely
that episode was.
Oh, it's incredible because our first guest is going to be my friend Kendo, dear, sweet, beautiful Kendo, who I adore, who you may know from Roar to Heaven, as playing both our Shinji and later our Asuka. Kendo, oh, Kendo, and so the concept of Take Flight is based on the fact that every time a friend says, "Hey, Kat, I'm writing my first game. Can I ask your advice?" The following conversation is the most fun I have. I always have a wonderful time when someone approaches me for game design advice, especially if they're just writing their first game. And I thought, I need to share this feeling. I need to share this feeling with everybody. And also, I need to show people who maybe don't have it in them to reach out and ask someone for advice. Maybe they don't have a cat in their life. Maybe they don't know a game designer and they want to write a TTRPG. Well, come on, Take Flight, or at least watch Take Flight. The idea is that we have one inexperienced or even brand new game designer and one more experienced designer who they can ask questions of, who can give them advice, and help them get their project off the runway and into the sky. That's why it's called that. So our first pilot is Kendo. Kendo is the one who I had this conversation with, who inspired me to start this show. And Kendo is working on a staggering game that is inspired by Gundam, especially Witch from Mercury. And you can't arrest me. I've done nothing wrong and I know my rights. Sorry about that. It's inspired by Gundam, Witch from Mercury, and even further back, kind of the original Utena. And it's so good. What I've read of Kendo's work so far is so good. You know how a good PBTA, you look at the playbooks and you're like immediately like, that one, that's me, that's my character, I want it. I immediately had that reaction. So like, this is going to be so good. And helping guide Kendo through the final steps of making this game a reality is Ray freaking Najati, the author of Apocalypse Keys, legend of PBTA game design, legend of narrative game design going back ages. I'm a huge Ray fan, and I have been for years. So when I saw that he was in the form, I got 131 responses to this guest form, Garm. 131 people either stepped up to say, yes, please hook me up with somebody to talk me through my game for 90 minutes, or yes, please give me a chance to mentor somebody. And it was pretty much 50-50.
Nice.
We couldn't possibly, it's a bi-weekly show. We're not going to be able to get to everybody, which breaks my heart. But so many people stepped up and wanted to participate in this little mentoring initiative. And it's my hope that it's not just the person getting mentored on the show that benefits, but that chat can also hear the answers to these questions, hear the advice from these fantastic creators, and maybe get over their own design humps, even if they're not applying to be part of the show.
Yeah, I mean, Lord knows I have several half-finished games.
Yeah. Then you're going to want to watch our third episode. We are having Dorka from the Eternity Archives, friend of mine, and Super Dylan on to talk about motivation, talk about what it takes to actually get the thing done, talk about that last push that turns your ideas into a finished manuscript. I'm so excited for that one because that's a problem that I hear a lot of people talking about. Where it's like, I have the idea, I have never finished writing it, which it's rough. It's rough if you're not used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've done a bunch of stupid projects over the years. This is one of them. Like, I adore each and every one, but like,
No, Sweetie, this is not the stupidest project of yours I've been involved in.
thanks.
I can't call Cabbage Cup stupid, actually. I had a blast.
Yeah,
I had a
hopefully,
blast.
hopefully someday we'll finish that. If not, yeah, we'll see.
Who knows? But anyway, it was a blast. It was a great time. Anyway, you have a lot of stupid projects.
Yeah, but like, getting to the point of actually putting them out there, yeah, it's hard. It took a lot of just either apathy or motivation, depending on which phase of my life I was in. It's usually motivation now.
Exactly. That's the thing. There's matters of motivation. There's matters of like, I finished a game, now what? There's matters of like, hey, how do I play test this? I've never done that before. Like, we've got a lot of different questions from people from a lot of different phases in finishing different kinds of games. So I'm really optimistic that Take Flight is going to have a huge spectrum of advice for people, regardless of where they are in their game design project.
And I assume it's all gonna end up on YouTube or something after the fact, right?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's going to be streamed on Plus One EXP's channel, and then it's going to YouTube so that there are VODs for people.
Right on, right on.
My official title is Flight Attendant.
That's adorable. I love it.
If there are any content warnings, it's my pre-flight safety demonstration.
Oh my god, Cat.
In
You
case of an emotional emergency, please familiarize yourself with the exits to the stream.
I appreciate you a lot, Cat. Just so you know.
I love a theme, Gar.
Who among us does not love a theme?
Who doesn't love a theme? Listen, I got to be full bore cutesy with it, and I love to be full bore cutesy. But I also genuinely love encouraging people. Like, that's the point of Take Flight, is to encourage people to pursue game design. If they've thought of it, if they've daydreamed about it, you can make it real, and we're going to hook you up with the advice you need to get you from beginning to end.
And then if you run a Kickstarter, you call me and we talk.
Then if you run a Kickstarter, you call Garm. And you go on cool crowdfunding and you have a good time. And it's fun. And you learn about how to eat twigs later.
I'm full of useful advice.
An absolute guru, an absolute guru.
So, Kat, you have a lot of games. We're not going to get into all of them. You've got a bunch of sweet solo stuff. I adore Sacred Forge, but
I'm so glad. Sacred Forge is probably my most popular solo game. It's a game in which you make a sword. You play as a blacksmith who is making a magical sword for a hero and endeavoring to keep the balance of the elements in the sword to make it a heroic and harmonious blade.
Which
My
is damn
favorite thing is
hard.
when people yeah, it is. It's not it's really hard actually. My favorite is when people play the game and like share their swords and like what their swords look like and what kind of cool powers they have. It's like, oh, I love that. Oh, I eat it up every time. My I'm working on a game right now called Stalk the Rushes, which is about being a great blue heron and hunting in a pond. And you play it by drawing concentric circles on a piece of paper, and if the circles hit the prey, that means they've noticed your ripples and they fuck off. And you can't eat them.
Sorry, I really appreciate the very cutesy description, and then they fuck off.
They do. They do. You can't eat the frog. It got scared. He went away.
Sounds
And
very
then,
cute.
yeah, Caden Remstack was tweeting about the bird jam when I was in Regina. And I was just about to get on my flight, and I was like, I guess I better write a bird game.
Yes, the say
And
that
then
rhymes with fun.
and then, and then I got, listen, there's, I did not have a great time, but I went there. But, when I got off my flight back to Edmonton, the first thing I saw when I got off my plane was a huge blue heron flying by. And I was like, that's my bird. That's my bird right there. So, my other recent solo game is a hack of my favorite solo game of all time. My favorite solo game of history ever is Cat Scratcher Studios' Friendly Neighborhood Superhero. I adore that game. It's made for campaign play. So, like, you're playing as a superhero on kind of a neighborhood level, on kind of a low key level. It's almost like it's a very kid friendly game. And you can return to the same character over and over again in the same neighborhood. And so there was a long period during the pandemic where I was really like, I feel gloomy today. I'm going to go be Jetpack Jeff, my superhero.
Incredible.
His nemesis is Laser Gun Lisa. I love that game. So I wrote the hack of it called To Swear on Your Honor, in which you play like a noble knight, but like the knight from a storybook. So there's something like legendary and vaguely magical about you. And you like solve problems and unravel intrigues. And I had a lot of fun with that game because I put some really upsetty spaghetti stuff in the tables. Like some really upsetty spaghetti stuff in the tables. So like reading the game, you're like, oh, this is a chill game about like being a knight and you love your liege or whatever. And then you keep going and you're like, oh no, what has my liege done? Like, because I put them in the tables pretty regularly.
Oh god.
So there's a very good chance that the prince that you serve and adore is going to do something monstrous over the course of your game.
Classic royalty move.
Classic royalty move and classic cat move to
Speaking of,
make a game secretly upsetty spaghetti.
yeah, I've played Blazing Him.
Yeah, punish friends. Just
What?
like the ad says.
Yeah. What? Kat, you are a very multifaceted creator. Like, what motivates you to make these things? Like, what? How did you become a game designer? I guess is the big question here.
When I was in high school, my friend came up to me and said, hey, Kat, I had a dream. I had a dream in which 15 strength was +5 and not +2. And I was like, good, cool. And my friend is like, I'm going to write a game. And I'm like, good for you, bud, cool. And then later on, the same friend came up to me and said, hey, our friend Sean keeps doing behaviors in my game and I can't make him stop. And I was like, have you tried this? And he was like, let's try that. And so then I came on board as a playtester, and then I fell in love with playtesting. This is in high school, going into college at this point. I fell in love with playtesting, and I eventually wound up like co-designing and putting together this little design team for this game. And that was when I really fell in love with design, was when my friend had a dream that D&D was a little bit different.
Not the most noble dream of all time, but it's a good one.
It's a good one. And it was a literal dream too. It was like last night while I was sleeping, I had a dream D&D was a little bit different, and now I'm gonna write a game. And I was like, sure thing, bud, let's party. And I think Heroic Chord was one of the first games I wrote solo, one of the first games I wrote without a team. And then I was like, oh, I can really just do whatever, huh?
For good or ill, yeah.
I can just do whatever, huh? Yeah, I mean, for good or ill, true. I've done some stuff, but yeah. But no, it started with a friend's project and a friend reaching out to me for advice on a project, and
That
it just
is
kind of spiraled out of control from there.
that is the most cat origin story possible, honestly.
Everything starts when someone has the poor judgment to ask me for advice.
I mean, I can't judge the quality of your advice. I was telling you how to eat twigs earlier, so like,
Okay, what? Am I gonna eat it the other way? Am I gonna eat a pine twig against the needles? That's not gonna go great. Your advice was sound.
I, I appreciate you, cat.
I
Um,
appreciate you.
I don't.
We have fun around here.
Yeah, I don't just start new shows so I can have cat on again, but like I could.
You could. You could. I'll come on the show. I'll come on whatever show.
Hell yeah.
And when I'm blazing him again, I'll play. I'll suffer. I hardly ever get to play that game.
We'll see. I would actually love to run or play Blazing Him again.
Yeah, it's a fun. I legitimately very much love running Blazing Him because it has such freeform it has freeform character scenes, so you can really be like, hey, what are you jackasses doing? And then you can sit back and focus on the combat scenes, which are very like tactical and numerical, and so um there's enough structure to it that I don't feel like I'm improvising it or that I need to be like D&D. I've been running D&D lately for just my Sunday group. It's not for a stream or anything. And I don't love it. I don't, but I love my group, so I'm going to run D&D for them. But like D&D's combat system is not easy. And hey, listener, if you're running D&D combat, you're doing the hardest one. The hardest one, I know. You're doing the hardest one. I find Blazing Him a lot easier to run combat-wise. And actually Heroic Chord too, because it's D&D has a lot of structure to its combat, but not in any of the ways that like a GM can meaningfully see and grasp and adjust. A lot of it's very opaque to a GM, especially if they're new to the game, which makes it very challenging to be like, how do I balance this combat? Well, honestly, trial and error. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. CR is made up. It doesn't matter.
God, I wish CR wasn't so made up.
It's made up and it doesn't matter. You know
Yep.
this.
Yeah.
It's not a real thing.
I haven't run 5th edition in a long time. Anyway.
My 5e group is playing Wild Beyond the Witchlight, and they're all playing animal featured races. We've got a Loxodon, who is a very good boy. He's a paladin. He's a good boy. We have a satyr. We have a Harengon, who's a little bunny guy. We have an owlin, who, as the name suggests, is an owl person. And we've got a what's the one called that's a turtle?
Portal.
Turtle.
It's okay.
Okay. And we have a turtle. So our party formed the Union of Animal Carnival Workers, and they are ignoring the entire plot in favor of unionizing everyone they come across and spreading democracy.
They don't even have dental.
You know, they met the bandits and they were like, you have a leader? Did you choose this leader? Hey, do you guys get a fair cut of everything you steal? And it's like, I can't with them. They're so sweet. I love them very, very much.
I'm glad.
I will play D&D. I will run D&D for these people because I adore these people and I adore this group, and they're really very wonderful. And they're unionizing everything and ignoring what's happening in the book and kind of leaving me to improvise. Bless them. That's a good group.
It is the way of a lot of D&D groups. Again, for good or for ill.
Yeah, you gotta embrace it. You gotta embrace it, because if you fight the chaos, you turn into one of those GMs, you know. The one that
everyone has horror stories about. You embrace the chaos, you turn into one of those GMs that everybody laughs and says, "Hey, I had a great time this week too." That's my advice. That's my GM advice. I won an award.
You're an award-winning GM. It's true. Oh.
My trophy.
So it is.
That's my trophy. That's a salt lamp.
Which
There's
some
pills. I need them for my brain. But
hey, I've got brain pills too.
Yeah,
Go
nice.
Team.
Hey, take your brain pills, audience. But what was I? Oh yeah, my GM advice from somebody who's literally won an award for this is honestly embrace the chaos. Being a fan of your players doesn't mean you want them to win every fight and you always want them to succeed. It means you're excited to see what they're going to do next. You're excited to see what those little scoundrels are going to come up with. That's the good shit. When you embrace the fact that you can't control them and they're going to do wild off the wall stuff, that's when GMing is fun. That's the best part.
I mean, my slightly contrary GM advice is, set expectations early on. As long,
set expectations.
Yeah. Like if your players want to do, horrible miscreant stuff, as long as everybody's on that same page, awesome. If half of you want to do like serious low fantasy and the other half want to be like a weird ascended mouse thing with like tentacles for eyes who just steals things from everybody, it's gonna go rough.
Yes. Have a session 0. Set expectations. Within those expectations, ride it. Just ride the chaos.
Yep.
That's a good GM.
Yes, indeed. And you would know.
I would know. I have a trophy.
Well, award-winning GM Cat. I think that's a good one. So, is that you?
That's me. Oh. I'm wearing my wall onesie.
Very good.
This is the cast of Sword of Symphonies.
Nice.
They're clean. This is the cast of my Sunday night game, different from the D&D people, and that's me again. So maybe you're at... Oh, that's Kathleen again. You may be asking yourself, why do you have multiple pictures of yourself on your wall? And you may be wondering, why is Kat always looking down? And the same reason. I love me. I gotta look at me all the time. I must see me. I must gaze upon me.
Hey, I'm not gonna judge. I've got one of my D&D character, one of my TTRPG characters up there behind the Green Lantern.
Cute.
Yeah, drawn by my lovely DM.
Cute.
I would tell people to watch that show, but the audio quality for most of it is really bad because it was the first thing we ever did.
That'll happen. That'll happen. Yep, that'll happen.
Anyway, that was some lovely advice from award-winning GM Cat, and I think that's a good place to end it.
Mwah.
Have a good night.
That was for the viewer.
I'm glad you clarified. I'm a married man, Cat. Have a good night, everybody.
That's clarified. Good night.
Good night.